On Only Frames, a home of below average 8-ball pool content, 7 pairs go head to head in 6 challenges to find out who can be crowned king of below average 8-ball pool. It features all the favourites like Chris, Louis, Brad and Tom. He's come out of retirement. Will Louis be better in a pair? It doesn't look like it. Who is going to be crowned king of this event? Let's find out. Now, what an introduction that was. I couldn't have done it any better myself. And as you've already been teed up for, this is a Pairs Cup. Whoever named it is an absolute genius. 7 pairs across 6 challenges. It's all about qualifying for the semi-finals, which the top 4 teams after the challenges will do. Now, up for grabs in this first video is 15 points for first, 10 for second, 7 for third, 5, 3, 1 and then 0. This one is nice and simple. It's killer but not as you know it. In the middle of the table is a dog bowl. Is that where he eats his dinner from? It would not surprise me. And every time you hit it, you have to put £1 in for charity. It's for Angels for Dogs, the charity we've been supporting all year with every loo ball that is potted. Now the rules are simple. If you pot the 8 ball, you gain an extra life. And if you miss, you lose a life. Once you're eliminated, once you lose all your lives, you are out. So let's join the action. Tom has already missed, which isn't a great start for me. Lou the dog is on 4 lives. Lee's potted 1 into the middle, bringing Darren to the table. Now you're probably already wondering, if it's a pairs competition, why is there only 7 names up on the board? Well, it's for each team to decide which player will represent them in this challenge and the one after. Myself and Brad decided it's up for me to pot the balls and set the tone nice and early for me and Brad to take this competition down, as there's another £1 for the Lou Dog Foundation. That is what we like to see, and that's ticked up to 275, and I can assure you throughout these next 3 videos that number is going to significantly rise. Noel comes to the table, potting 1 down to the bottom left, but there's a Lou ball making it 276. This could be 500 after we finish this video. Gary's now at the table, potting 1 to the top right hand pocket and getting a nice cue ball, which is immediately going to bring me on to my hate originally about this competition. As you probably noticed, I'm after Chris, but Chris is after Lou the dog, so he's got a buffet every time he comes to the table. Do you think they do it in cohesion, or is it just so that Lou always leaves Chris up? I'm calling it out. I'm saying there's cheating straight off the bat. They're working against me because they know I'm a threat to them. I'm a channel favourite, and Chris does all he can throughout this video to stitch me up. It's a disgrace, and the pair of them should be banned. Look at that, he's left me nothing. That's a joke. That one don't even go to the middle. It might look like it does. It doesn't. He's trying to get a quid out of me, and I'm not falling for it. I'm an apprentice. I can't afford a quid. Get a load of screw on this, Tom. Do not hit that bowl. You can't afford it, man. Roll it into the middle. That's a lovely shot. Come on. I'm looking in red hot form, but can I continue this on? I'm buzzing as I walk away from the table, and I've left my mate Lee a nice one down to the bottom left, but will he accept the gift? No, he won't. Like the Grinch at Christmas, this guy does not like celebrating successes, but he has left Darren in a spot of bother. He might be able to chip this one down to the bottom right. If he can reach it, he might need the rest. Hello, he's going behind the back. I've not seen this tactic in years. Can he pot it though? He's looking great. Has he managed to? Yes, he has, but there's another cue ball. We're up at 277 already. Noel gets the opportunity to place a ball anywhere in the D and rolls one in nice, giving his opponent only a shot to the middle pocket. Really? No, he isn't. Gary's going to take this long. Up to the top right-hand pocket. This won't be easy, but he should get a good cue ball, which he does very nicely indeed. This isn't easy for Lou the dog, but one thing's for sure, he's going to leave Chris an absolute gift. The guy's a pigeon. He should be banned. If anyone's been following his road to lineup campaign, he can't pot them when they're lined up. So this ball has no chance whatsoever of going in. He's taking it up the top. freeing Chris a ball off the cushion. Very clever indeed. They're in cahoots. I'm telling you, it's a disgrace. And Chris, no doubt, is going to try and leave me needing to put a quid into the pot. And I'm not falling for it. I can't afford it. He's going to roll this in and leave me nicely on that one to the middle. I know he is, because he wants me to take it on. And I'm not falling for that bait. I'm going to take this one to the top left, no doubt, because I'm a skinflint. I can't afford it. These guys pay me nothing for my comms. It's a joke. Will I manage to pot this up to the top left? But more importantly, avoid that bowl in the middle of the table. Now, unfortunately, I didn't manage to pot, boo-hoo, but I did manage to get a good cue ball. I've not given Lee an easy one, and most importantly, I avoided hitting the bowl and costing myself a quid. But I am down to one life, as is Darren, who's going to be eliminated first and get no points for their team. That's not the kind of start you will want. Lee's in a predicament. He's on two. He could be on one if he can't find a pot here. That's nowhere near from Lee, but a great cue ball. He's only left Darren seeing one, and this could be Darren eliminated. He had a great pot earlier from behind the back, but he wasn't able to follow it up after he went in off, and that's absolutely nowhere near. Darren's been eliminated. That's nil point. As we move on to Noel coming to the table, still nicely on two. Now, what do you think of the variation of the dog bowl on there? It's a quid every time you hit it. Do you think it adds to the game? Before, we've tried Card Killer, which is great. You shuffle the deck and it's a random order at all times. Some of you have suggested two cue balls. I don't think that's a bad idea either. Let us know your thoughts in the comments if there's any way that we could adapt this game of Killer. Is there anything you do in your local pubs? Gary there donating another quid, and that's a stinker. The guy's thrown his hand in the air. He's fuming, man, as would I be if I'd have had to chuck a quid in. Bringing our very own Luda Dog to the table. Is he going to sink this one down to the bottom left? So far, he is still on 3 lives. I can't believe it. I know he potted an 8, but normally he's missed more than this by now. He's rolled it up for Chris. Here, mate. Have another one over the hole and stitch up Tom. Tom will win this if we don't work together. It's a joke. I'm absolutely livid, man. What is Chris going to do here? He's Hollywooding it, pretending he was going to take that red to the middle. I'll tell you now, we'll roll this in and leave me a dodgy cue ball. Try and make me not be able to see the red. But he's left that cue ball too far. He's left me on, thank goodness. Even I can pot these to the middle, and it looks like I'm going to see another round of this killer. Can I manage to stay in a bit longer and Lee and at least get a couple of points to my name? I've tried to get that cue ball down behind the dog bowl, using it as an obstruction, but I wasn't able to do so, leaving Lee a chance to sink this one to the top right-hand pocket. That's them all gone, so we're going to need to re-rag, and it's Noel to break them off. Now that's a pretty good split from Noel as Chris comes back to the table, returning Lou the Dog's bowl to the middle of it. Should we have kept it there for the break? That would have been a great source of revenue for the charity, but we decided we would be nice on this occasion. Should it stay there in future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Now Gary rolls one in, giving Lou the simplest of shots down to the bottom right-hand pocket. But I'll tell you now, as he's in cahoots with Chris, he won't take it on. Instead, he's going for the 8 ball, you greedy little swine. Can he roll this in to get himself back to 3 lives? No, he can't, and he manages to hit the bowl twice. Surely that's 2 quid. The 8 ball and the cue ball hit it, and he's given Chris another simple ball to the middle. What a surprise. Now you are all starting to see what I am preaching to you. These two are working together just to stitch myself and Brad up. Are they scared? Do me and Brad have a chance of taking this title down? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. I tell you now, if you're buying bookies, back us to win. Me and Brad are a great team. Like Torval and Dean, we're like Anne and Deck, Hale and Pace. We together complement each other so well. Like peanut butter and jelly, as Americans would say. But I would never eat that tosh. I'm taking one to the top right. That's nowhere near. Didn't even go. I'm eliminated. Second out. That's a joke. I'm fuming. I can't remember this. When it happened, I thought I was going to win this event. Potting balls is what I do. But I've been stitched up, but I have managed to secure A point for me and Brad, and I'm sure he will be thankful for that. Lee rolls one in, he puts his hand in his pocket, he's feeling casual, he's feeling confident, bringing his mate Noel, the best dressed man on OnlyFrames, to the table. He chips one back into that bottom right. That's a pretty good shot there from Noel, and he also managed to avoid the dog bowl in the middle, and even better than that, he's had a pretty good cue ball. This isn't easy for Gary, who remains on 2 lives. Can he roll one of these reds into the middle pocket? He can, and he manages to avoid paying a quid into the middle as well. Gary now, Lou to follow. What's he going to do? He is in a precarious position. He's only on 1 life. Can he find a pot just to remain in this competition? He's roaming round the table. He's decided he's going to bridge over this red and try and take this down to the bottom left. And for Lou the dog, that's an absolute worldie. A 10 out of 10. He don't make them often. He's hanging in there by the skin of his teeth. And as ever, he's managed to set up Chris very nicely indeed. Chris is going to roll that one down to the bottom left and try to be horrible. He's trying to get that cue ball in behind that yellow to make it difficult for Lee, who's now going to reap the rewards of Lou and Chris working together against him. The poor guy, I've been there, I suffered it myself. Can Lee last longer than I did, or have they condemned Lee's fate? That's a great pot from Lee into the middle pocket, bringing Noel to the table, who once again hasn't got an easy starter. Can he find a point from here? Can he find a pot and remain in this game? He's down to 1 life, and it looks like he's taking yellow to the top left. He's not managed to pot it, and he's donated a quid to charity. Noel is gone, securing 3 points for him and his partner. Gary is absolutely livid as he comes to the table, and he can barely see a ball. The dog bowl's blocking his view. Can he see this one down on the bottom cushion, though? Can he manage to get this into the bottom right? He could. He was absolutely longing that out. It was so easy. I'd have potted that in only a few seconds' time. And Luke the dog's got himself another shot at the 8 ball. So far, he's managed to pot 1, but he's managed to miss on 2 other attempts. Can he make this one to stay in the game? He's down to 1 life, but this could make it 2. He's getting down on it. This is close to the cushion. He does not like these, and I'm telling you now, he is not going to pot it. He's managed to hit the knuckle and give a quid to charity. Come on. Lou the dog is out there cheating. Dirty little rat. Hanging cretin. Get out. Get out. Get out. Managing to set Chris up though, and he'll probably take on the 8 ball after Lou's assist. Once again, we call him KDB. He's an assist merchant. Can Chris capitalise? He's got an easy red to the middle. He's going to take that one on, and he rolls it in, remaining on 3 lives, bringing Lee to the table. He needs to find a pot to stay in this game. Lee strides to the table. He's hanging in there. I'm sure he's pretty happy with his minimum of a 3rd place finish. He's having a good season on OnlyFrames. He's currently in the top 4, and it's going to make the Gold Cup knockout, I'm sure, but he can't manage to pot that one to the middle, sending himself out, but gaining his team 7 points, and now we are down to 2. This is the 2 big hitters of the channel. If you exclude myself and Joe, of course, these are 2 of the players who will definitely feature in our Gold Cup later this season. Their league form is good, although Chris has lost a couple of games and Gary can be streaky, but these guys can play. Potting is what they do, so he could be in for a great contest from here. Chris is looking to come off this cushion and hit it up the rear. Woo! Come on, Chris, hit her up there like you wanna, you little rascal. No, he has changed tack, and he's decided he's going to take the long double up to the top left. This looks good. No, it does not. Hit the pot. Hit the pot. It can't hit the pot. We need the extra quids. If this game's going to go on, I want the charity to benefit. Honestly, it may not be out of my pocket, but I want everyone else to be putting in their fair share. Now, Gary's looking to send that one to the top right, which he does very nicely indeed, and he retains his advantage. It's 3 lives plays 2, and Chris is in a world of hurt here. He hasn't got an easy pot now that Lou the dog is out and no longer assisted him at every opportunity. If Chris misses here, you've got to fancy Gary. With 3 lives, surely he can just play tactical. Do you agree with that in a game? And Chris absolutely jaffs one. He might have to put a quid in, but he's managed to flick it off the bowl and get it into the top left. Did he play that? And Gary does an absolute low-life move. What do you think of that? Now I'm here to be impartial. And I love it from Gary. He said to Chris, I don't think you can pot it. I've got more lives than you. I don't need to take any risks. Chris tried to double it. He wasn't able to do so, and he even had to put an extra quid in. It seems a bad idea to last in this game any longer than you need to. It's just costing you money. Chris is down to 1. Gary's on 2 as Chris breaks off, and a nice little tap break from Chris. No drama there whatsoever. He took no risks, but he isn't ideally situated for his next pot. What can he find from here? Can he keep his title hypes alive? Can he try and secure the 15 points of his team as he takes this one down to the bottom left-hand pocket? Now, Chris is a real clutch player on Oni frames. When it comes to the big occasions, he usually delivers. And that was a pretty good pot. And not only that, he's got a pretty good cue ball. Or has he? Has he left a par for the 8 down to the middle? Does it go? Gary's down on it, so it did, and it goes. Gary's back up to 3. Chris is on 1. Gary's a massive favourite. He's odds on. Bookies across the country are paying out now on him taking down this title, but he's got himself a real battle on his hands with Chris. Chris looks to try and get that cue ball in behind the yellow. He's unable to do so, but this isn't easy for Gary. He can take this one down to the bottom right, but he's got no idea where the cue ball is going to go. He is taking it on. He is living by the sword, but will he die by the sword? He's overcooked it, missed it by an area code, and he's down to 2 lives and a quid for charity. Nonetheless, double win there for the viewer themselves. Chris has left a chance, and he's got a red to the middle pocket. He takes no chances. He didn't try and do too much with a cue ball there. Normally Chris is all about stitching up his opponent whilst trying to pot himself. Gary sinks that one to the middle. It looked like it hit that knuckle slightly, but it managed to go with no real issues. Still 2 plays 1. Who do you think's going to come out on top in this old shootout? It's a Western. This should be an absolute cracking finish. Chris rolls one in, but he has left Gary a chance. He's left Gary a red to the top right-hand pocket if he wants it. He does, and he's going to take this one down to the bottom right. For me, the one to the top right to get a better cue ball is a ball to take, and Gary misses that one down to the bottom left. What is he doing? He had this game sewn up, but is he melting because the pressure pot is too hot for him to handle? Chris is going to roll this in and look to get himself a decent cue ball. He's tried to use a dog bowl. The guy's a genius. That is great thinking from Chris. And what is Gary going to do? He can try and bridge over the dog bowl, but none of us have had any training for that. When have you ever done that in your life? It is a ridge too high. Can you even get to the cue ball? He looks like he wants to give it a go, but it's too high. The incline of the cue is too steep. He's not going to be able to make contact like he wants to with the cue ball. And I am predicting he may just lash this cue ball into the dog bowl and see what happens. This could feature in our best shots of the month, which is available on our Instagram, our YouTube, our Facebook, and our TikTok account. Gary's managed to pop one to the top left. Everything has gone everywhere. We are going to need to get the cleaners in to find all this money. Should that be even allowed? I do not know. It was genius and Chris to stop, and that's of equal genius from Gary. I'm all for it. That's an absolute worldy shot. That should win our shot of the season for sure. Chris manages to pot a nice ball, but he has left Gary on this one down the cushion. These are real bum twitchers though. The old 5p, 50p goes when you're taking them on. He's looking to see if he can find any better alternatives, but these aren't easy. You've got to take the one on the cushion. It maybe looks like it's slightly off, making it harder than it would be if it was in full contact with that cushion. He's decided that red's a ball for him to the middle. Can he pot it to remain alive? Of course he can. That's a great pot from Gary. Both of these are clutching when it matters most. Chris has got a choice of the 2 balls here, either the yellow or the red to the top left-hand pocket, but which one gets him the better cue ball? He's decided to take the red, and he manages to get a pretty decent cue ball. He didn't want that touching on the cushion, but it's tricky nonetheless. But if Gary pots, Chris is in a world of trouble. That is for sure. Gary does pot, but he's managed to only roll the cue ball when giving Chris a simple one down to this bottom left. I thought it'd be trickier from there. Will Chris manage to hold his nerve though? He does indeed, just about. It wipes his feet, bringing Gary to the table 1 life remaining for each player who's going to take down this winning start to their Pairs Cup campaign. Now, so far today, this killer competition has brought us more drama than a Ted Bundy killing spree, but will the killing remain? Gary's looking to sink this one to the bottom right, but he can't do so. It's wiped his feet, it's remained up. Chris takes 15 points, Gary takes 10. Solid start for both teams as we move on to the second game within this competition, and it's a mystery wheel. Now our second challenge is nice and simple. We have ourselves a mystery wheel. Before each round of attempted pots with the 8 ball, the players will spin it, and whatever restriction it lands on is how they'll have to attempt to pot the 8 ball. And the first one is using a tiny cue. Now I thought Brad would be awesome at this as he handles a tiny cue on a daily basis, but he barely managed to hit the cue ball, meaning that him and Tom no doubt are going to remain on 1 point throughout the rest of this challenge. Now every time you pot an 8 ball, your team gets 3 extra points onto its total, all accumulating to your final points at the end to try and make it into the semi-finals. The players who didn't play in Killer are representing their teams on the second go round, seeing if they can fare as well or as badly as their partners did in the first. Now so far nobody has come anywhere near to potting one of the 8 balls. Have we created a challenge that's too hard? Now Craig went for an interesting technique there. He was like a sniper. He was down on one knee trying to sight it down to the bottom right, but it was nowhere near. Steve is going for the cocked arm underneath and he manages to sink one, giving it the old Dennis Taylor. What a celebration from the big man as we spin the wheel for the second time. And what are we gonna get? I can't read it from here, it's too far away, and it looks like we're going spot to spot. So it's nice and simple. From the centre of the D, you need to try and pot the 8 ball, but Brad can only create another pound for charity with a loo ball as Joe comes to the table trying to pot down to the bottom right. Now, as you will see from our wheel, we had all kinds of restrictions on there, but if you've got any that you think we missed out, let us know in the comments, and maybe in future videos we will try them. Is anyone going to manage to pot one of these 8 balls spot to spot? Scott had a pretty good attempt. It managed to rattle, bringing Mark to the table. So far we've only seen 1 8 ball potted out of 10 attempts, and people say we aren't the home of below average 8 ball. Now New Scott comes to the table. Can he change our fortune? He absolutely blasted it. What the... He's going to fit in perfectly on this channel if he's trying to attempt stuff like that. Now the People's Champ, Wreck-It Ralph himself. Craig, that's a pretty good attempt. He sent the cue ball off. He managed to pot down to the bottom left. Does that count? Steve, the only man to pot with a small cue. Can he do it spot to spot? It was a pretty good attempt, but he was unfortunate there. As we spin the wheel again, and what restriction will it be this time? The wheel's continuing to spin. Will it ever stop? Nobody knows as we get ourselves a wrong end of the queue. Now I'm pretty sure Brad uses a wrong end of the queue on a daily basis, having watched him play many times, but it turns out maybe he doesn't, because that was abysmal. He was nowhere near. He had a little look in the camera as he went past, and Joe's managed to miss the 8 ball as well. Maybe this is harder than it looks. I thought this would be easy. Scott's trying to make it harder for himself and doing spot to spot again because he's got no brain and doesn't realise that 2 restrictions go with each other. It's one at a time, man. Are any of these men going to pot once again? We've only seen 1 pot so far. Come on, Mark, change that for us. Roll this one in nicely. He can't even hit the 8 ball. Oh my God, I haven't missed this channel. We are so bad at pool. Why do we even bother? Now, Scott, who blasted it last time out, is he going to manage to hold himself back a bit more with the end of the queue? He didn't really. He managed to get a pretty good connection, but that was nowhere near. Is anyone left to go? Nobody knows. Oh, here he comes, Craig. He's probably actually better with the wrong end of the queue. He flukes one again. Does that count? Who knows? Maybe you can only pot down the bottom. I haven't seen if their points have been going out. I think they should. Craig deserves it. He's a great guy. And Steve's better with a tiny cue than he is a wrong end. As we move ourselves on to the final spin of the wheel, And what will it be? Who knows? Only the will decide. And they've decided that Simon and Garfunkel, it's a bridge over. And Brad had no chance with his little talons on his hand. Oh, Jeremy Beadleclaw. He has absolutely added nothing to this team. My 1 point seemed bad, but at least I've got a point. Brad has done nothing for us. We have got no chance of winning this competition with me and Brad. Scott lurching over that like Voldemort himself with his gangly little fingers, but he's unable to pot as well. Mark now to the table like Christopher. He's dressed in red, lady in red. No one is managing to pot any of these. Why do we put such hard restrictions on ourselves? We struggle to pot them when they're over the pocket. Well, why are we doing this to ourselves? As Craig is the last man to go, and once again Craig gets pretty close. The scores haven't really changed since those attempts, and here comes Steve to mop it up. Can he finish on a high? He managed to pot earlier today, but he can't do it again. But where's the 8 ball going? Does that one count? Surely it does, as we spin the wheel for one last time. Spin that wheel, spin that wheel. Oh, where does it land? Nobody knows. After a quick VAR check, it turns out that says playing from the cushion. Brad manages to contribute absolutely nothing to the dynamic duo within this challenge. I got us 1 point, Brad has got us nothing. Therefore, I am the captain of this team going forward. Now, Joe comes to the table. He's off the cushion so far today. He's been poor. Joe's a good player, but he's managed to give nothing to himself and Lou the dog. Lou so far is bossing it. He is delivering for the team where Joe is not. Scott can't pot either. It remains that we have only seen one pot in these challenges. Surely someone is going to get some kind of dignity back for this channel. It won't be Mark. Will it be New Scott? I bet he can't hit it as hard as he did earlier today from being on that cushion. Turns out he can't hit it whatsoever. He has a little chuckle to himself. What a great guy. Now bringing Craig to the table. He's got his butt in the air. Ooh-wee. But normally a butt in the air for Craig is success. I'm trying to get my words out. It's been a while since I've been on this channel, but today it wasn't a success for Craig. The butt in the air hasn't delivered, and Steve, the last man remaining, can he pot just one more time to end on a high? No, he can't. The Pairs Cup will continue. Hopefully the standard will get better than we've seen today. There's 4 more challenges to come. Tune in next time.